Ciao mondo, hello world, hola mundo, hello monde. We are here today taking Cappuccino with Claudio Ronco at the International Renal Research Institute for the 40th anniversary Vicenza course on AKI and CRRT with Ming Chawla, one of the big experts in the area of acute kidney injury and extracorporeal therapies. And in particular, we are going to ask him what is his opinion about adsorption as a new modality for blood purification, and specifically the potential for adsorption in terms of pathogen removal from the extracorporeal circulation. So, Mink, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Claudio. It's great to see you. And I'm really excited about some of the work we're doing at EXTHERA Medical, and along with work that you and me and John are doing about this notion of hemoadsorption and this key issue of subtraction. As nephrologists, we know that removing toxins improves outcomes. And I don't think that this approach has been really taken on in the world of infectious disease and in sepsis as much as we would like. In nephrology, we've gotten very good at removing toxins and fluids and phosphorus and uremic toxins. And we know that when we do this, we get good outcomes. We know now that giving early antibiotics is critical. But once you do that, many patients still have persistent pathogen, or they have a pathogen that you cannot easily remove because there's not good treatments for it. And so there are multiple hemoadsorbers that have come out that can potentially address this major issue. And one of them that I've had a chance to work with at its inception when it came out in the DARPA program in the US, which is a large defense research program, was to use heparin-coated beads to remove pathogen. And heparin is interesting as a surface because it resembles a glycocalyx and it absorbs pathogens. The biggest use that we see is in COVID, patients who have COVID-backed viremia that is not clearing. This is typically in the early phase when they're transitioning to becoming on a ventilator. And we've seen very nice results which have been published. But I think the real frontier is with the fact that we have huge resistance problems. So in burn patients, patients who are on ECMO, who have these large cannula in for large periods of time and get bacteremia that doesn't clear. It is in these patients, especially ECMO, when you already have extracorporeal circuits in you, that adding on this type of filter allows you to get those infections under control. And so I think the European experience has been very interesting because we in the US, I think, have focused on COVID, pathogens that are very resistant, and ECMO. But in Europe, we're seeing a lot of use with just patients who don't clear bacteremia in a timely fashion. Think of a carbapenem-resistant Acinetobacter baumannii. These types of situations where you're choosing between colistin, some very toxic drugs, and it's because you don't have bacteremia you're able to maintain. So, you know, I think that you and I have discussed many times that the science around surface chemistry for hemoadsorption is moving at an extraordinary rate. And we're very good at setting up extracorporeal systems safely. Carpe diem, I think, is the perfect example of something which we thought we couldn't do, neonates, we can now do because we have better devices. Well, once you have better devices, now we have the ability to add better filters and better hemoadsorbers. And being able to use the Seraph 100, which is EXTHERA's product, has been wonderful. There are other products coming along. My main focus, what I want everyone to know is, think about subtractive therapy in sepsis. Remove things that are bad if you're unable to do the job with the antibiotics and antimicrobials that you have.
And of course, then later on in the cascade, you can remove other things such as endotoxin and then cytokines and then uremic toxin with other type of sorbents. And as you say, adsorption mechanism is moving at an extraordinary rate. Now, one quick question before we end. And how do you identify the right candidate patients? do we have enough biomonitoring to evaluate which patient is a good candidate for this pathogen removal therapy?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I would say that the two areas of focus are patients who have pathogen, let's say bacteremia, that you measure, and no matter what antibiotic they're on, it continues to persist. That is a patient, because if you don't clear the pathogen, the inflammation is not going to go away because the source is still there. So patients with endocarditis, patients with these very resistant bugs that the Seraph can remove, these are excellent opportunities to take advantage of the effects of this hemoadsorber and then clear the infection and give the body a chance. When we put a large drain in a patient who has a pocket of pus, they have an abscess, we don't clear 100% of the material. We debulk it and we allow the body and the antibiotics to do the rest of the work. That's the same idea with using a hemoadsorber. Help the body, give it a chance.
It's the same
That's
concept.
the key.
Yeah, it's the same concept of the peak concentration hypothesis for cytokine storm. Absolutely.
That's right.
With this, thank you very much for listening to our cappuccino today. Thank you, Ming Chawla, for being our experts. And hopefully have a wonderful, wonderful day. And we drink our cappuccinos. And this is really excellent. Thank you very much.
Ciao.